Come on, come on. Up, 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 up.
Unidentified human detected. Assessment unknown. Eradicating.
Hi. Have you ever wanted to play a climbing game, but you just don't feel like you're struggling and crying and tearing your skin off hard enough? Say hello to White Knuckle. Instead of climbing for fun with friends like in some other popular game that's floating around, you're here climbing for your goddamn life. Make sure to subscribe with the bell on so I can reach 1,000 subscribers soon. I need it. White Knuckle is a very unique game, combining the gritty art style with an even more damning atmosphere. Paired alongside a horrible growing time limit, this game becomes scary as hell. Keep in mind, this is a demo, so we have plenty not in the game just yet. So what better place to start with than the tutorial itself to give you, the viewer, an idea of how this game can play. The game's incredibly in-depth with several mechanics that I feel like I won't be able to do justice, so you should try it out yourself. It's on Steam and free, and if you're weird and don't use Steam, then use the itch.io link that will be in the description. Let's get the simple shit out of the way first. Left click and right click control your hands, and on edges or mantles, you can independently use your hands to climb higher and higher, or use both hands on a single edge for safety or to get a higher jump. When climbing, your hands will grow red and ultimately exhaust themselves if you keep climbing without rest. There's some moving platforms, monkey bars to swing off of, and ropes to climb or jump with, but that's the very basic explanation of how movement in the game works. Now let's get a little deeper into the mechanics. By holding either mouse button and coming into contact with an edge, you'll always automatically grab it, so making a risky jump isn't as risky as long as you get your grippers ready. Next are items inside the game as well as an inventory management system. You can collect items in your climb, and these all have unique functions, and while the demo doesn't contain every item in the game, the common ones are the rebar, piton, rope rebar, brick, and a hammer. The hammer is with you in the beginning no matter what, but with it you can create mantles with the piton, because if you don't hammer them in, it's a short plunge with your name on it. The rebar is one of my personal favorites because you simply chuck that shit on the wall and you can hold on to it pretty easily. The rope rebar is the exact same but offers more verticality. You climb the rope attached to the rebar and not much changes. 10 out of 10. The brick. You throw it. Now we're on to the consumable items in the game. The list of them all are canned beans, slug grub, a pill bottle, granola bar, and adrenaline shot. Now, I didn't get anything besides just eating beans in my demo playthrough for a reason I'll probably explain soon but won't. So just ignore that and know each item here refills your stamina bar while applying a new kind of effect. Granola bars can increase your jump range, the slug allows any surface to be climbed, and the adrenaline turns the game into gorilla tag. Hoarding items will only hinder your climbing speed and slow you down, especially if you have too many large items on you. You'll just make things harder for yourself if you don't use them when you should. Now that we covered most of the mechanics of the game, how does the game play, you may ask? Wait, why don't you go open the fucking door? Everything must be climbed. Whoa. Oh shit. It's equal parts fun as well as anxiety inducing. We'll take it up slowly from the very beginning and explain things on our way up. Once the game begins, you're just sitting there at ground zero. No recollection or instructions besides one: escape. For the entire game, you're alone in this massive facility. The only thing in your ear, besides the ambience and aged machinery, is the AI voice constantly in your ear, detailing just how poorly maintained the facility is.
Notice: decommissioned training modules in Chamber 12 remain offline. Unauthorized reactivation is prohibited.
Also, the way we're climbing from the beginning is giving the idea that we're not meant to be climbing like this, and each vent and makeshift piton created before was placed by someone before us who was thrust into this clearly less than stellar job. Every 50 meters of ascent is marked by the game, and small, you could call checkpoints, exist to close behind you once you exit certain areas, essentially forcing you to constantly keep moving forward because there's nothing left for you down below. So I'll take the time here to explain what this place is. This is the Silos Deep Storage, a basic factory setting that eases up into the game before things shift dramatically. Next up is the Silos Air Exchange, where each jump could be your last since it's all about the low gravity with the fence pushing you upwards or down, and one mistake can either cut you up into chunks or land you in the grave of the mass. Now, there's not much or any info regarding the mass in the game, but it is, in other words, your time limit. The mass is an amalgamation of flesh and faces constantly growing and will consume you if you're too slow or make any kind of mistake to fall inside. So you need to constantly keep moving. The higher we go, the more tense things get, and the final area in the silos is called the Shattered Chambers, abandoned training rooms that serve no function anymore but to be deadly obstacles in our path. This is if the tutorial room was destroyed and forgotten, but with the added obstacle of moving spike traps that can and will crush you to death. Fucking hell! So it's best to play it safe in this area by creating your own path with the tools in hand. You'll likely encounter 2 of the 3 areas at a time when playing, since each run is randomly generated as opposed to just giving you the exact same route each time you try. With that over and done with, it took me quite a while to get skilled enough to maneuver the area myself and to climb over 500 meters without fucking up. And it works because we finally got to escape. To the halfway point, that is. All the depth and skill you develop for this was only for half the game. This is White Knuckle, take your sensitive ass back to peak. The halfway point is the one and only break given the entire game. I'll take this time to explain that after sealing the mass momentarily, you're allowed access to a shop that uses golden or platinum roaches as currency, letting you buy items or in the full game, create a save file or purchase perks to enhance your mobility. Now with that done, we can absolutely take the elevator and things will go smoothly, because of course it will, right? Whoa!
Warning. Severe elevator malfunction detected. Until further noted.
Welcome to the sewers. The mass is unforgiving and won't stop for you, so why should you stop for it? It's around this point of the game where the difficulty gets much harder, especially now with the added bonus of hostile monsters running amok. The 4 new monsters are blood bugs, barnacles that were in the silos that I ignored until now, gas bags, and striders. Blood bugs are easily the most common and infuriating of the bunch. They're giant mosquitoes that will knock you back or break your grip that you can kill with just about anything that you can throw. Barnacles are my worst enemy and I wish them nothing but a horrible end. They're not too different from the Half-Life barnacles, but their tongues can be gripped as a temporary platform to jump off of. But 9 times out of 10 you'll get caught by them, and if you do not kill it quick enough, you get eaten. But as infuriating as it is, it's great game design to have it be both beneficial and annoying. Next is something that I can't really call a hostile monster. The gas bags are slow moving bundles of air that don't do a whole lot besides slowly make its way towards you and causing strong knockback, but you can easily mitigate it by jumping on it instead and get a massive boost to elevation to reach your goal. Just don't hit one from below if you're understanding what I'm saying. Lastly, the rarest and only friendly monster in the game. A strider, which does as much as its name says it does. It bears no ill will and can be climbed from the hinges of its leg or the rebar in its head. It randomly walks along the water, so chances are it's something you wouldn't climb in the first place. Otherwise, it's probably the closest thing to a pal in this godforsaken environment. The sewers, aka the pipeworks, have 3 stages within them, like the silos before it, and these 3 are the pipe organ, the drainage system, and the waste heap. The waste heap is definitely the rarest to come across, leading into a giant open room and only room where striders and gas bags can be encountered. The pipe organ and drainage system, however, is truly hell. Barnacles and blood bugs will constantly be here. You're cramped in a confined area with only the ability to go up, and loose steam from pipes will break your grip and cost you stamina should you get hit. And I cannot stress how annoying it is to lose a great run because of the steam hitting you. They're both extremely cramped locations, but the main difference between the two is that the drainage system is a more traditional sewer level, while the pipe organ is a series of pipes that lead into larger rooms that have pipes abundant and messily scattered around, forcing you to move around them all. Sometimes navigation within the pipeworks can feel disorienting because you're constantly moving the camera up and down, and sometimes you can hallucinate the pipes moving like they're giant snakes keeping you from being alone in this sewer that can be your grave. I again feel the need to mention, if the first half of the game was hard, this is hell. The skill ceiling in this game is limitless. You'll start off slowly but surely moving upwards, maybe feeling proud you reached 250 meters thinking you did well, when you didn't even reach a quarter of what the game had to offer. My experience around this area was just trial and error, getting better and understanding how to adapt to the constantly changing environment around me. And I faced a glitch once here too that broke a really good run, unfortunately. Son of a bitch. No, don't tell me I'm fucking stuck. You ruined me. You're kidding me. You sick son of a bitch. I hope you fucking rot in hell. You sick son of a bitch. You trapped me down here. You fucking asshole. You
Fuck, I hope when this shit gets you, I'll be alive enough to kill you, my goddamn self!
But after hard trial and error and mastering the silos to be able to enter the sewers each time without failure, I finally reached the last room of the demo. Beyond the gate we have a giant open space. What the fuck? One last shop and a set of items before ascending an elevator, escaping this hell. If I lied, that is. Throughout this entire run, the AI voice over the speaker has been constantly showcasing how damaged the facility is, from the ever-growing mass that's been chasing us, and since we are all alone, we have to fix the elevator to even get out. There's two phases to it. The elevator's first stop needs to be overridden by 3 separate controls that we can get to pretty easily, and jumping back in, we have to do one last manual override on a strict time limit to finally, truly escape. It's a lot easier said than done, unfortunately. Eventually, with enough time, I was able to do it, and I was not alone for it either.
Oh my god, how did I miss that?
Oh my god. Oh my god!
Nexus, I didn't know you knew my fetish.
Oh, I beat it! I beat it!
He beat the demo! Yeah!
I beat the demo! So with the demo done, you'd naturally assume that's where things would come to a close, but you can see how much time is left in this video. We're not even close. The game was fully released on Steam some time ago for early access, but if I can buy the game, then it's fully released to me. Money makes the world go round, and I'll be damned if I live in a square. So with the full game in hand, no time limits, and no restrictions, we can go over everything there is to know about White Knuckle as of today. Besides a few small visual differences, if even, the runs won't differ from how the demo was. Not at the beginning anyways. We'll start from the middle to list off the real changes, and what better way to start it off than with something that would drive me insane if never added. Save files. When reaching the first checkpoint, you can buy a save drive for a few roaches and put it into the machine we were locked out of, to make sure you're not fucked the next time you meet an unfortunate end. The process and how you save is a unique one though. We'll touch on that later. Now get your notes ready because we'll be going over more goodies in the game, and this one being the brand new perk system to make your climb a little less mind-breaking. These perks and how to get them can be a little difficult to understand, but the main function of it is learning what each does and how to use them. We have a lot to go over, so pay close attention. Armored plating reduces damage taken by half and grip loss from any hazards. Back strengtheners to increase your carry capacity. Latissimus optimization, which increases climbing speed and poor pronunciation. Metabolic stasis increases how long buffs are active. Regenerative pads to increase stamina regeneration on the floor. Somatic painkillers increasing base stamina by 30%. Tissue restorative to increase stamina regeneration as a whole by 25%. Velocity augments to increase overall speed. Ligament restructure to increase jump height. Heavy strike making the hammer much stronger. Rabbit DNA to unlock a long jump that uses stamina. Anomalous bonds, which just keeps your items when you respawn after death. Pheromone glands, which will prevent roaches from running away or being squished by you. Pulse organ to jump in midair. System reorganization to increase all your movement and stamina regeneration by 15%. And lastly, elastic limbs, which increase your grab range. Those are all just the regular perks I should mention. There are just as many for experimental perks, which are available in the other game mode. And no, I won't go over them. You actually think I used all those perks? I haven't even gotten to use all the items in the game. We're far from being close here. So let's pick up where we left off, to the place where we escaped. The Forlorn Gateway, in the final major zone in the game, the Habitation. This third and final region of the campaign, you're no longer being chased by the mass. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean things get easier, but we'll get there when we get there. This gateway is locked with the power turned off. There's a note here though, the first one you'll probably ever encounter in the game, and it's a drawing of the closed gate and the words, "Stay away." Naturally, why would you listen to someone else if you can just trust yourself instead? So turning on the power to open the gate is all that matters. You'll only ever need to do this process once, since on a returning playthrough, the gate will always be open. This small area serves as a miniature tutorial for navigating the new region, and needing to crank a brand new item, your light, to be able to see what's going on here. With the power on, you can access the break room here to get another save and subject yourself to more Agarthan Instagram edits as well as perks. Lastly, before heading out nearby, is a brand new item that is going to come in handy very soon. A flare gun. It's mobile, it's light, literally, and if used downwards, propels you upwards, but I used it on something else. Let's actually go forwards now, into the service shaft. This area shares some similarity with the confined spaces of the sewers and lack of any proper footing to be had, but has lots of areas to grip and you're not on a time limit of the mass anymore. Though if there were one, it wouldn't be easy to make it through since we begin to be hunted. Oh man, what the fuck?! The greatest threat in this area is Teeth. A man-made shadow monster that will constantly hunt you down. It cannot die, it knows how to chase and leap after you, and with its shadow hands it can slow you down to eat you whole. You're safe inside nearby vents or the office space, but he'll always be waiting for you to come back outside. While it can't be killed by us, our flare and other throwable items are good for giving us some time to spare. Get down! So with a physical and mobile threat on our tail, escape is harder and more worrisome than ever. Let me have a chance! Let me have a chance! Until we finally get out and reach the haunted pier. We're outside. This area, as massive and wide as it is still underground. The massive and seemingly unending space surrounding us and containing all of these structures, buildings, and gigantic cranes are all still underground, and that despite us climbing thousands of meters and only going higher, we are still nowhere near the surface. There's nothing to chase us here. In fact, it's probably one of the safest areas of the game where you can grab several items and stock up before climbing up the tower again. But it's not perfect because around this point does the game introduce yellow weak pitons that will break if held onto for long enough. And you don't need me telling you that it's a long way down. So after climbing this awful tower, you get one final break at the Delta Labs. Another abandoned area with some more machines to give you your final boost for the ending of the campaign. And once you're stocked up, it's time to keep climbing higher. Inside the vents here, the lab AI is still reading out loud the collapsing and destroyed building getting worse and worse. And we're also not the only thing in these vents. The closer we get to this hand, the more it runs from us, always trying to get us without us noticing it. And if you do on the off chance get grabbed, just like barnacles, you need to hit it away before it drags you all the way in with it. So what happens if you follow it, you might ask? Here's how it looks. Flesh and bone covering both vents and room on the wall is a giant amalgamation of flesh that knows nothing but to grab and eat. This is the white knuckle. And yes, in case you're wondering, it will kill you instantly. What the? The process of avoiding it is very simple so long as you never forget about it or have quick reaction times to get the hand off of you before you get pulled in too quickly. With that out of the way, there's two more areas we need to get through and a lot of pain and suffering I endured to get there. The high security zone and the anti-gravity climb. Inside both of these areas, places where we were never meant to set foot in, we come across the final obstacle of the game. That being sentry turrets. I'm dead! I cannot tell you how many times these things have costed me my runs, but to add on to being tracked and shot at, these rooms are incredibly unforgiving. When knocked over, they can be deactivated, but getting too close in the first place is risky enough. The security zone is a room similar to the silos, but with sentries all over and an even more steep, cynical climb with you needing to move around the moving walls. You're climbing to avoid being shot at by the turrets. Lastly, The final major room in White Knuckle's campaign, the anti-gravity climb, nearly broke me. It's similar to the fans and silos where your jumps are incredibly floaty, but objects here float too. What doesn't mix well for me, however, is that when jumping like this, you become a sitting duck for the turrets to spray bullets all over you in case you weren't quick enough to climb away from them, because you'll climb into another that'll shoot you too. This was bad, but it's very possible. Just plan your steps and make quick movements. However, once you reach a certain point in the room, the AI detects us in this restricted floor, saying humans are not allowed inside, and we have to climb away from a rising laser trap that will unforgivingly tear you apart. In spite of all of this, in the many hours I spent trying to get better at the game, I knew how to improve with each run, better choices to make. I knew how to avoid the White Knuckle, how to defend myself against the Shadow Beast teeth, and I finally overcame the gravity zone to earn my freedom. After successfully passing both chambers, we're forced back into the vents, back in the White Knuckles territory, and each consecutive vent we open afterwards is armed with turrets designed to keep that freak inside the vents, but the two combined are only more obstacles against us, and we just have to go higher and higher until finally we're at the main entrance. There's nothing but blood and bones scattered around the floor. So many dead bodies unable to escape or contain whatever was there that massacred them all. And after opening one final gate, the bright light outside embraces us. Finally free. For now. God, this was stressful. And absolutely some of the best fun I've had playing an indie game in a while. But our video is far from over. As early access as things are, there are still so many things hidden that this game does not show you. Attempts to sway you from seeing the wool covering your eyes. So now we'll finally get into the important part. The story of White Knuckle. Now, while I say we're going to talk about the story, I'm going to say we're going to talk about the story so far. There's plenty that's not known yet and plenty to be added. So everything I'm going to tell you, take it with a grain of salt. The company that owns this building is called the ITAA. The first 3 regions of the game before we escaped the mass was called Substructure 17, and we escaped that area with the elevator to Substructure 3. As for who we the player are, or how we survived so long down below alone, or even why we just started to leave, we don't know. From all I've been reading and gathering, this entire underground world of machinery was not man-made, but rather discovered in the 1980s by the ITAA, with their full name being Institution for Technological Action and Advocacy. After years of attempting mapping, expanding, and experimenting with this unrealistic environment, things were bound to get bad, and very quickly. At the bottom of the world, in 1999, the mass was accidentally created by the scientists of the ITAA. And after sacrificing dozens of workers and managing to trap and freeze it, the next year an entire substructure is sealed with everyone inside no longer being allowed to leave. This plays into part of the several notes left behind where workers are talking about the outside as if there was a secret way out. Most of the notes left behind are incoherent and tend to become ramblings of the insane as they try to survive in this broken down and worsening facility. While we're in the middle of the timeline, I feel now it's an appropriate time to at least bring attention to all the secret rooms of the game, where some of these notes would be found. Each of these rooms have graffiti inside them as if they're worshipping different kind of idols that may or may not exist here. One of, if not the most important rooms in the entire game is simply called the Llladderr. To even reach this area, you need a secret item called the Blink Eye, an item not attainable normally in the campaign, but through one of the game's alternate modes, so you'd have to use it twice to allow it to be sold in the vending machines in the first place. The Blink Eye allows you to teleport, and towards the end of the game, you teleport behind a broken vent to enter this infamous room. The room contains broken text everywhere, all about this single tall ladder. There are notes too of a researcher called Dr. Zhang and the experimental test regarding this ladder, how every attempt to see where it leads to has failed because it simply goes up too high. The ascent to the top is slow, repetitive, and it becomes apparent really quickly this ladder is not normal at all. The AI voice starts to break down and glitch as if you're hallucinating it speaking these things to you, since it's the only voice you know in the game.
Emergency. Ladders shall be used only for the purpose for which they were designed.
Supplies and small breaks can be discovered, but there's never an opportunity to go back down. Why would you want to anyways? At 2,500 meters high, another note by Dr. Zeng can be spotted, detailing regret for the last person who climbed this, but maybe it leads to the outside and it's worth trying. The room gets darker the higher you climb. The voice breaks more and more. Hundreds of meters are being climbed with no end in sight. Then you find another note on a platform. Another note of Dr. Zeng losing their mind, thinking something is there with them, and ultimately losing it by praising this ladder like it was the answer they were missing all along. The ladder isn't even straight by this point. It's bending to the sides, shifting more and more until it forces you to jump to the opposite side of the room to continue climbing. A single mistake will ruin everything here. This continues and the room is warping entirely now. No longer does it feel like you're climbing up, but you're climbing in any direction the ladders move you to. The room moves like it's alive until you're not even inside a room anymore. You're just climbing a ladder and a wall in an empty void until there's no more wall, just a ladder to climb in a place that shouldn't exist. The note left by Zeng is true as well. You're not alone in this room. You're not alone with this ladder, because if you were to fall at all, you'll meet something simply titled Nightmare. After climbing enough of the floating ladders, there's a ceiling with a small hole inside. You can move the rubble blocking the hole, and inside is the beginning of the ladder room all over again. The notes on the table have changed as well. Dr. Zeng's mind was broken by this ladder, and to climb for who knows how many days to reach a ceiling that led to the beginning room was enough to shatter whatever small sanity Dr. Zeng had left. Climbing out of the vent that you entered the first time after making the entire trip gives you an alternate way of escaping, as opposed to the base version in the campaign. There's one last secret here though. There are cheats in the game, and if you make an attempt to try and cheat in the ladder room, you get sent somewhere familiar. The ladder room is living proof of how disturbing this substructure is. That things that aren't humanly possible or could possibly exist reside down here. Another example of such a thing is the shadow monster Teeth, the threat inside the elevator shaft. When passing through the area, there is a lab that has several doors that can't be accessed normally, but through crawling in the vents you can see what lies on the other side, and in one of them was an experimentation room with a gate, a white room with blood, a destroyed wall, and a single chair inside. Before transforming into Teeth, he was a man named Vern who sat on this chair and transformed into Teeth as time progressed. This chair is one of the anomalies of the facility that causes effects that shouldn't be possible, because after enough time had passed, Vern had transformed entirely into the wall-crawling shadow beast known as Teeth, and is responsible for killing and consuming everyone in the laboratory. Unlike the white Knuckle that chases you in the vents, it exists as a monster that was never human, growing as a parasite in the vents to consume anyone it could get its hands on. One thing I nearly forgot to mention is that after escaping Teeth and inside the pier, this text appeared on my screen. I am still alive. I want to believe that this is a way of Teeth trying to speak to us, to try and save him or end his suffering. Everyone in the lab with him has been dead for who knows how long, and he's still alive, hungry, and desperate for another meal. There's so much hidden and not explained quite yet with the game's story. I went through all this time speaking with my eyes glued to the wiki, and I'm still seeing things that make no sense, that I'm barely even discovering for myself. What do you mean the second event created the Lost Pier? The fuck was the first one? There's so much that has yet to even be added to the game. Secrets still hidden, and unfortunately for me, too much information that I can't possibly explain to you. But don't let me end this on a sour note for you. Instead, we'll end with a cliffhanger, specifically a secret to tease the next portion of the game, the Abyss. The prerequisites required to even unlock this achievement is incredibly convoluted and difficult, so I'll just say it right here. This is not something to be done accidentally. On the Lost Pier, at the very edge of the map, there's a glowing blue light, and using the teleporting eye item, you can transport yourself inside where it leads. Inside is a void unlike anything seen in the game's campaign. Like this is a floating chunk of the substructure that just exists here. There are eyes drawn everywhere and more unknown text about how the structure apparently eats. The main accessible area here leads to what looks like a portal, and pressing the key to try and activate it only gets you one piece of repeating dialogue.
Not yet. Access denied.
Not yet. that. And another location that's harder to reach leads to a platform and text stating, "Erase the structure. Kill the structure. The structure is fake." All that's left is this art on the wall of two faces and something between them forming an infinity symbol. And with that being said, that's all there is for White Knuckle. It's been a very, very long time since a game, especially an indie game, has had such a strong hold on me to invest this much time into, and especially with the amount of potential it has to continue evolving. This much story, this much in-game content, and this much potential makes me want to see everything already. I want to know more about what everything is or what this structure is hiding. I want to know the secrets of the events that were hidden away from the ITAA, and I want to know who the fuck we are to begin with in the very beginning alive while every other dead body is completely old and rotten. Unfortunately, it will be a very long time before I get these answers. But hopefully this was enough to satisfy your curiosity of what this game has to offer, its future and its present. I really, really do recommend you buy this game, and if you don't think it's worth the investment, just play the demo. It's literally free, costs you nothing but an hour or two of your time, and I want you to support the creators and their hard work for this game. With all that being said, thanks to anyone who's made it this far into the video. This is certainly longer than some of my other videos, and actually I've been meaning to try and get longer and better videos out for a while now. So this is my first step into touching on that kind of territory. Every 2 weeks I'll upload as opposed to my usual once a week, and here's hoping for 1,000 subscribers before the year ends. YouTube's bitch ass doesn't like to help me out with this, unfortunately. And that's all I've got to say. See ya.